Is Reed Sheppard actually good, or is him being a top 5 potential pick white supremacy?
領域展開無料空所
Oh, he is actually good. And so what is he good at? Well, Reed Sheppard is an offensive prospect. That's where we will start. So the elite skill that Reed Sheppard has is shooting. He is an elite shooter, and he's got shooting versatility. The part of his shooting that impresses me the most is the pull-up shooting.
Mitchell whips it over to Sheppard, spots up for a 3, got it! You were a teammate of his grandfather?
Wasn't that crazy? I'm now doing grandkids. He was Milwaukee
because Gainey got a small piece. Sheppard, pull up pop, bottom. Gainey. Good shot though. Kentucky with a chance to regain the lead. Bigler trying to track it down. It gets knocked over to Dillingham. Jumper. Sheppard shooting practice. It's a difficult task. Sheppard one-on-one. Step back. Left jab and jumper for Reeves. Busy. Screen. Avicic. Sheppard again. Yes! Guys.
LSU just doing one heck of a job defensively, staying in front of the ball and helping each other out.
Sheppard. Calipari screaming instructions on him, so he wanted the ball screen for Sheppard, whose floater goes.
Be careful, this tempo is starting to pick up.
Sheppard got to tag Avicic and hit him hard before he ever catches it. Sheppard open 3, yes! Sheppard pulls up. Gosh.
And he is not just an on-ball shooter, he is a big-time off-ball shooter as well. He doesn't do anything crazy movement-wise. He's not JJ Redick. He's not sprinting around and turning in the air while he shoots. But he's somebody you cannot leave open. He's somebody you cannot help from one pass away. It's too dangerous. And he's somebody who will be a very credible floor spacer.
He had some big plays down the stretch in that big come-from-behind win against Florida State. Sheppard on a 3, got it!
Play at Tennessee, any of these places that are tough. They lost at A&M, right? They were challenged by an older team. Kentucky, the transfer, Bay St. Louis, Mississippi. Sheppard, 3. Wagner goes behind his back. Sheppard.
Can go left, beautiful. Feed it. Sheppard. Got it. Unbelievable. Around the handle. Dillingham. Extra. Sheppard. Ching.
He's in that zone again. If they do, they better locate shooters because this is not the same Kentucky team a year ago.
A lot of hand fighting on these drives. Sheppard all alone. His 3rd
rebound for Kentucky. They are winning that battle. Sheppard wide open. This is the nation's best. To have that kind of depth at that position. Sheppard wants 3.
Difficult to handle. Hubbard has such explosiveness in his jump shot.
Next question is, can he finish? Well, the finishing numbers are really good, depending on what source you look at. I've actually seen a couple different numbers, but overall, the finishing percent is good, but the volume is low. And so that's a pretty big concern, because it's like, hey, why weren't you getting to the rim? Getting to the rim is really important. It helps either, layups are the best shot. Like everyone wants to generate layups all the time, and everyone wants to get fouled. Everyone wants to get to the free throw line. So to get there, probably got to attack the rim, right? And so Reed Sheppard did not really do that all that often at his time in Kentucky. But did he not do it because he couldn't, or did he not do it just because he didn't? Reed Sheppard has pretty solid burst off the dribble. You can see on this one, does the screen really hit this guy? Not really, right? Not at all. But Reed is still able to get by him just off burst alone. He's able to finish that. This one, LSU picks him up all the way out here, I guess because they're worried about the jump shot. Then the screen comes, and that's enough. That's enough of an edge for him to leave this guy in the dust. Then he's got this guy in front of him, and he's able to put his shoulder into him, get around a little bit, and finish through the contact. This is another half-court finish that I feel like is pretty much entirely off burst alone. I guess that guy gambled a little. He tried to pick his pocket right there, but that little gamble was enough for Reed to get all the way to the rim. He's got a bigger guy switched out onto him, blows by him, Then little acrobatic finish there. Reed is already so good at playing off the threat of his jump shot. See here, he gives a momentary look as if he's gonna shoot this. That's enough for the defender to jump, and then he gets by him, and then he goes into his pull-up jumper. This one, he's gonna create space again by pretending he's going to that pull-up jumper. Look at that. Oh, he's thinking, oh my God, he's about to shoot in my face. Oh, look how he reacts. And then Reed's able to drive off that. He gets 2 feet in the paint, and then look at these, they're collapsing on him. He's got a wide open shooter. 3. Look how high up they're meeting him. He's so good. Here he hits him with the crossover. Nasty. Then he's got this guy closing out to him. Oh, little hesitation there, like he's gonna shoot. Able to get by. And then who do you think he passes to here, guys? Is it this guy? No, he's behind him. There's 2 guys in front of him. Oh, he'll probably go to the corner. Psh, no way! He threw it all the way back out there. And it was a 3. Here he gets the ball a little bit on the move. Oh, wait, let me rewind so you see that for sure. Oh, we're back in Tennessee. All right, now we're in LSU. Look, do you see it? Oh, it's like in the fraction of a second, he makes them think that he's gonna shoot the jumper. So that guy jumps out on him. That's enough for him to go by. Now he's got 2 defenders right here. They could close the doors. They probably should close the doors, but he zooms through the doors before they're able to close. Now it's a little wide open finish. Get the ball up here, and then look. Oh, that really looks like he's gonna shoot, right? So this defender jumps out at him. It's like he's creating a closeout situation every time he does this. So they're jumping forward, and while they're jumping forward, he's pushing off his foot and blowing by them. He gets right there in the paint, kicks out to the shooter. Play, he's in transition. He's got 1 guy in front of him, 1 guy behind him. He backpedals to get this guy on his back, but this defender comes up because he's like, okay, he's a big time shooter. I can't stay back here. I gotta come up here. And because he jumps up, then Reed Sheppard blasts off this guy, gets by both of them, gets into I'm stuttering. This guy rotates over as the low man, wide open corner, 3. He's gonna get the ball up here. And let's see. Oh, that looks like he's gonna shoot. You idiot, you thought I was gonna shoot. Blows by, hits the floater. Ball here. Oh, he thinks he's gonna pull up. Floater. Kind of lean towards being optimistic about he just didn't. I think it's not a physical limitation entirely. I don't think he's the most athletic player. You'll have seen that he tested with a 42-inch vertical. Not the most functional 42-inch vertical in the world. Do not expect this guy to look like John Moran or look like Derrick Rose on the court. That's not the type of player he is. But I do think he has good burst off the dribble. And he doesn't have the most creative, advanced handle in the world. But he just makes quick, sharp moves. And I think he can get by his defenders. Other guard defenders and some bigger wings as well sometimes. I think he has an adequate level of burst off the dribble. It's not a huge concern for me. He doesn't get all the way to the rim, but I think it's a combination of the college game. Obviously, college floor spacing can be rough a lot of times, and they play zone defenses and stuff like that. And then I think he's passing out early because he's very much a pass first player. That's his preference always. He always wants to kick out, and so he's kind of been on the Tyrese Halliburton wave where when he gets to like the free throw line or like a little bit in front of the free throw line in the paint, he's already kicking out because to his credit, the defenders are already leaving their man and helping into the paint. And so not a stupid decision, but yeah, the volume at the rim isn't there, but I would like to be optimistic about his finishing game. I don't know if it'll be a huge hole. I don't know if he'll be like a reliable half-court finisher, like somebody who at the end of the game, like in crunch time, do you just give it to him and say, hey, ISO, get there? Well, probably not, but maybe. Reed Sheppard is a pretty good passer. Not generational, not tier 1. Tier 1 to me would be like, as prospects, tier 1 is like Trae Young, LaMelo Ball, Ja Morant, guys like that. I don't know if he's tier 2, tier 3, but Reed Sheppard is really good. He's a really steady decision maker. He can make some really cool passes, and maybe he can be a little bit conservative at times, but I think he's somebody who just pure decision making and passing ability wise, I think there's a good chance that he can handle a lot of on-ball reps for you in the NBA. But also, he might end up more as an off-ball, off-guard. The most common type of pass you'll see Reed Sheppard make at this stage is just the driving kick. He's able to get into the paint, and then as soon as he draws attention, as soon as he gets like 2 bodies on him, then he's pretty good at finding where the help came from and just throwing it out for an open shot. The same play I already showed you where he gets into the paint. Again, same thing, kicks out to the shooter. Let's see, what happens with this bad boy? Oh yeah, this one I already showed you too. This is a really crazy pass. What's going on up here? Yeah, and it's interesting because well, no, I'm not gonna finish my sentence there. That's pretty good. Crossover. Oh, I thought he was going to go for the corner, but he goes back to the trailer. That's Antonio Reeves. That's a really fantastic shooter. And then I showed you this one already too. And then I showed you this one already too. Lot of overlap. He's pretty good at finding cutters as well. He was really good. You see, he finds back cutter there. He's really good at finding lobs on some of these plays. Let's see, finds the cutter right there with Antonio Reeves. Here he gets it. Oh, look, this guy's gonna come crashing to the paint. There's 3 bodies all looking at Reed Sheppard. He's able to thread the ball through. Really just floats it over. Go for the lob. Again, teammate crashing in there. He's got 1 guy on his side, 2 guys directly in front of him. So that's a pretty impressive pass, just like right over the top of his shoulder. Although I guess it doesn't lead to anything, but still, I like it. Well, it leads to that. What's he gonna do here? Here Antonio Reeves is gonna back cut. Nice. Here, again, the guy comes crashing in from the corner, throws the lob. That's good stuff. That's good stuff. That's the one from earlier, right? All right, we're in the loop. Flashed a little bit of a live dribble passing ability here. He pulls up with his left arm, throws it back to Big Z. This one, let's see what happens. Yeah, see, that's big time stuff. The lefty skip pass. Oh, I guess I only have 2 clips. Well, they're pretty good clips. He can make skip passes as well. I don't know if he has I don't know where his vision is at. It's definitely not elite vision. And so there will be times where these passes are cut off due to his size or due to heavy ball pressure. But still, he was able to make these on a pretty regular basis. So that's a good sign if you're a big believer in primary ball handler, primary initiator, point guard Reed Sheppard, then these are the kinds of passes you have to make when you have that kind of an on-ball passing responsibility and burden. And so really, really good stuff to see him make. The outlet passing is also really, really good. Maybe he's got pretty good size for a quarterback. Maybe Kentucky should have looked into it. Who was their quarterback? I don't even know. Daniel Jones? No, he was Duke, and that was like 10 years ago. But still, these are big-time outlet passes. And then by far, I think his most elite skill as a passer is being off the ball as a secondary playmaker. Just a guy who keeps the ball moving, keeps the gears rolling, like Kuroko. And have you ever seen Kuroko? He's kind of like that. He's a really good connective passer where when somebody can't make a pass to the opposite side of the court, they just throw it to him. He's kind of like the cutoff man, and it just shoots out to the right spot. Look at this stuff, man. This is incredible. And so this is part of why a lot of people think he'll settle into being an off-ball guard, because this is an incredibly valuable skill for an offense to have, because I think we're seeing it with like the Timberwolves in this year's playoffs. Mike Conley's secondary playmaking is very important for them, and there's just like when somebody like Anthony Edwards gets trapped and he's not the greatest passer in the world, there are advantages that open up, but they're not always able to capitalize on them. So theoretically, if like Reed Sheppard was playing with Anthony Edwards, they blitz Anthony Edwards, he kicks the ball out to Reed, and then Reed can he can even attack closeouts and play make out of that. And he can just keep the ball swinging. Pew! And so, yeah, this is one of those, this is just a winning skill. Like, this is a skill that improves the more talent you have around you. It makes you a more scalable player. And so, thus you're a winning player. Look at that, attacking the closeout, getting in the paint, kicking out because of that. Let's see, how far in? Look, we're not even all the way through. I have so many examples of his connective playmaking. There he is up there. What's gonna happen? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. How good is Reed Sheppard defensively? If you've seen the Ringer draft guide, you'll see that Kevin O'Connor has the leading headline is menacing defender for Reed Sheppard, and he says he has shades of Derek White. I disagree. I don't think that's accurate. I think Reed Sheppard is not the greatest on-ball defender in the world. He's not a complete liability. But I think that will be a struggle in the NBA. I think it'll be something he has to get better at. It's something he has to adapt to. If you drop him in an NBA game today, I think offenses would target him just because he's not the greatest on-ball lateral defender. And at the end of the day, he's very tiny. He's 6'2", 6'3", with an average wingspan. And so he doesn't have the greatest tools in the world to lock people up on the ball. He definitely has some good possessions, but overall, I think it's a concern for me right now in the NBA. I think it's something that teams will be like, yeah, let's kind of factor that in as a negative. He probably will be picked on the ball defensively.
So think of Blue Kane as a freshman playing against freshman guards in Kentucky. He's going to want to have
19. Mitchell and Reeves, each with 19 to lead the way. You got Abdur-Rahim at the bottom of your screen trying to spot up for another three if the ball gets there. Instead, it'll be a
shooter. 51% from three-point territory. Number one in the country.
He can take this guy here and elevate.
They clear the floor for him to go one-on-one.
Big size advantage around Sheppard.
sort of like Auburn. Well, you got Sheppard and Dillingham on the floor now. Sheppard.
Off the ball is where he's much better, I think. I think he's a good team defender. He's really good at getting interceptions, at playing the passing lanes. He's good for his size at digging in on drives as a help defender and mucking things up. He's
largest lead for either team in a while. Good hands by Sheppard, and he's able to strip it and get his. Here comes the screen for Jordan Wright, and stripped by Sheppard. Loose ball.
Georgia just took a haymaker or two from Kentucky. Let's see how they respond. Tough pass, a lot of hot.
4 minutes to play.
Going to come down to their defense for Kentucky. Can they get stops?
Reed, nice cut. Great block.
Good at anticipating plays and blowing them up.
Their largest hole of the evening after leading by as many as 6, and for leading for the majority.
Game, early offense, kind of staples of this Kentucky team.
Shot opportunities if you're Chris Jans trying to close this thing out. Oh, Sheppard, another steal. Up and over with it left.
When it comes down to around the rim, like when he's the low man and stuff, he's not super impactful, again, because of the size. Like, I don't think players and teams really see him as an obstacle down there, so...
Pretty good here in the first 11 minutes. Taylor downhill, and they'll call that down there by Henry Coleman III. Obaseki to Radford, hard to the rim, and the lay.
Vanderbilt wants something good here. Oh, yes. Lawrence, nice run, great design.
That's a hit on his defensive versatility, and that's just a hit on the value of team defending 6'2" players. Like, a lot of times with smaller good defenders like that, when I tried to think about comparisons, like Caruso also doesn't add the most rim protection in the world, but I think he's a much better on-ball defender. I was thinking about TJ McConnell. I think he's probably a better on-ball defender. Kirk Heinrich, I think, was a better on-ball defender. Like Dwayne Wade has talked about. Kirk Heinrich was tough, and like Kirk Heinrich had like switches on LeBron where he held up. Like, obviously LeBron turns everyone to dust, but Kirk Heinrich was a good on-ball defender. I don't know if Reed Sheppard is quite in their lineage, because I think his strengths skew more towards off-the-ball defense, and so I don't know. Maybe he's similar defensively to Steph Curry. Maybe that's a good comparison, because I think Steph Curry was at his best a solid defender, because he played well within his team's concept, and he made good reads for steals and good overall team defensive plays, and he could hold up on ball against guys. But at the end of the day, like when teams went in against the Prime Warriors, they were like, we should target this guy because he's the weakest link on this defense. Not because he's the weakest link in the world. It's not Trae Young. He's not Tyrese Halliburton. But he's somebody who could still be picked on despite his effort and despite him getting better over time. I think I think Reed Sheppard probably projects as a little bit similar to him. How good is Reed Sheppard going to be? I don't know. I think there's a good chance he will not bust. I feel confident saying he will not be a bust, no matter where he goes in the draft. There are lesser outcomes where he's not a star. There's outcomes where he's not a starter. But I think at the very least he'll be a good piece off the bench, just because that shooting ability is so dynamic and so efficient. The opportunistic finishing is good. The team defense is good. The passing decision making is good, and like he's a fine athlete. He's a passable enough athlete. He meets the baseline, might be a little bit above it, and so I think there's a really good chance that Reed Sheppard ends up a good player. So I think he has a decent floor. I think he has a pretty high floor. When it comes to the ceiling, how high is the ceiling? What's the max this guy can reach? Well, I think the absolute max is Steve Nash. I do think that's in there. I do think there's 0.0005, I was late, 0.000% chance that he is Steve Nash, that Steve Nash is in there. And so that's obviously blasphemy. There's a better chance of me getting struck by lightning right now. You can see the weather outside. It's not stormy. I think there's a better chance of me getting struck by lightning probably than there is of Reed Sheppard ending up at Steve Nash. But it's not a 0% chance because of the skill set he has. I think he's such a dynamic on-ball shooter that he can match, theoretically, he can match Steve Nash as a shooter, I think. And then once you're that level of shooter, and obviously Steve Nash existed in a different NBA, so it's a little bit different, but once you're that level of shooter, it really opens up the playmaking, because if they were so worried about the threat of your shot. And then again, like if you're projecting Steve Nash onto Reed Sheppard, you're like, okay, so he'll just grow into one of the best passers in NBA history, maybe the greatest decision maker in NBA history. Obviously those are incredibly lofty heights that nobody will probably reach, but it's in there. Like Reed Sheppard right now is not Steve Nash, but Steve Nash was not Steve Nash at 19 years old, and so I think there is a world where the passing continues to take a leap. He continues to incorporate his scoring threat into the game more, and then capitalize off the passing. And I think he might have a similar driving game to Steve Nash. Steve Nash was fast; he could get in the paint. I think in the NBA, there's a chance Reed Sheppard could, if he develops the handle a little more, becomes a little bit more dynamic with that. There's a chance he can get there. He can be more like Steve Nash, more like TJ McConnell, where he gets there, not necessarily finishing all the time, but just getting in there and causing a panic and then creating out of that. And then defensively, not much of a legacy there from Steve Nash to live up to. But yeah, so overall top end outcome, Steve Nash is possible, incredibly unlikely. When I think about him compared to some of the other small shooting passing guards, he's a little bit different. Like I don't really see him slotting into the Darius Garland, Trae Young category, just because they're really dynamic ball handlers and just different types of players. And there's a good chance that Reed Sheppard slots in more off the ball than they do. But when I think about like Reed Sheppard versus TJ McConnell, could he be TJ McConnell? Like I said, they have the defensive difference where TJ is better off the ball. But like, could he be TJ McConnell with a jump shot on offense? If he is, how good of a player is that? That's a really good player. Is that an all-star level player? It's possible. It's possible it's close to an all-star level player. And like TJ McConnell, his drive metrics are crazy. He's like in the paint as much as anybody in the NBA. Again, he's not finishing when he's in there. He's not drawing free throws, but he's getting in there. And so we've seen him make some plays in these playoffs. He's emerged as one of the best backup point guards in the league, one of the best players in the league. And so could Reed Sheppard be TJ McConnell with a jump shot? Maybe that's in play. Would Mike Conley be in play? Again, I think Mike Conley is better on the ball on defense than Reed Sheppard will be. But offensively, I don't think it's the craziest outcome. Like pull-up shooter, big time. Mike Conley's got the floater. Obviously, he's famous for shooting floaters. But just a steady offensive presence like that, who can get into the lane and do some things and can do damage as a shooter and just be a really good passer, steady decision maker, reliable guy on offense. I think that's another like really high-end outcome that I think is in sight for Reed Sheppard. Overall, I think Reed Sheppard will be a good pick. I don't really know how high he's going to go. Is he going to go top 5? Is he going to go top 10? If you're drafting him, I don't know if he's guaranteed to be your starting point guard of the future or your starting two guard of the future. But I just think he's a really great prospect who's got a high floor and a high ceiling. And even if the highest ceilings are not incredibly likely to hit, I think no matter what, you'll probably end up with a good player. There's a good chance he'll just be a good player, and you won't regret the pick, unless the guy who went after is Giannis. Jonathan Mobo? Who knows?